Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Fuel for Success on this Thursday morning. It's episode 176, coming at you live from Hastings and St. Pete, Florida, in our virtual coffee shop, virtual studio, the new Studio 11 and Palm Tree Studio right there in St. Pete, Tampa, the beautiful Florida countryside. No, not countryside. How are you today, my friend? It's going to make us jealous with some palm tree pictures.
Can't get any better than that, my friends, can it? I'm doing awesome. What about you? I'm glad you kept Studio 11, my friend. I'm glad you protected the name.
I just picked it up and moved it. That's what I did.
Yeah.
Added the fireplace.
We probably would have all struggled with a new name. You know, it'd be like Starbucks changing its name today. Who wants to see that happen? You know?
That's right.
All of a sudden, breaking news, Disney World is changing its name today, ladies and gentlemen. Like, Studio 11 is legendary. Hey, Mike, speaking of, here's the power of daily, okay? Think about it. Simplicity, right? New Year's Day. This year, you and I started a talk show. And just like that, we have 176 episodes. Imagine if we'd have never started, right? So the secret is daily. Like, what you do daily actually does compound and really begin, like, somebody can look at us and say, wow, how do you guys have 176 shows? I'm like, because we did it every day, literally, every day. Monday through Friday, of course, but think about that. What if this year you literally just chose things that you were just simply going to do every day? Think about it, 30 minutes. What could you do in 30 minutes every day that would make a huge impact? For example, I guarantee if you did a 30-minute walk, or if even some of you spent 30 minutes a day on your finances.
Yeah.
Some of you are financially out of control because you never really go through the bills, you never really check up on your accounts, you never really budget. And the simplicity of doing it every day, that's what I teach my son when it comes to baseball. Listen, it's about what you do every single day over the next 5-10 years that's really going to make a difference. You're not just, these people, same thing with eating healthy. Same thing in business. It's a grind. It's a daily grind. This world we call success, we have this fantasizing myth that all of a sudden you're going to wake up one day and get this lucky call and this lucky breakthrough and, this lucky, just whatever, right? Well, here's the bottom line. That may happen, but only after you've done it like thousands of times, day in and day out. When the lights are off, when nobody's calling, when nobody's looking, when it's not sexy and it's not boring, and you're just having to do the stuff that just, it's the non-glamorous stuff. But it's that stuff that over a period of time compounds and really causes your business to explode and succeed. In his book, Malcolm Gladwell, Outliers, said that, the average masters of the world have a minimum of 10,000 hours of practice. 10,000 hours. It's like anybody can be jealous about how Tiger Woods plays golf. Oh, you got the dream life, you live in a mansion, you got all this money. People don't realize the hours of work that he has put in since he was a little boy, the things he gave up as a little boy. You remember Gary Vaynerchuk's show? When everybody was like, Gary, you're so lucky, you got it made, you've got fame, you've got money, you're making millions, you're so lucky. And he's like, yeah. He goes, lucky. He goes, I remember when you guys were at Jersey Shore in high school partying every weekend, and I was in the back of my dad's liquor store bagging ice till 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
That's real lucky, And it's true. Like, we envy success, but we don't realize the grind and the patience and the sacrifice and the dailiness, there's the word of the day, the dailiness of success, my friend.
Dailiness. I'm not sure that's
dailiness.
But we're gonna try it.
We're gonna
dailiness. I don't know if it would be
dailiness.
Dailiness. Yeah. Anyway, hey,
Drink tea every
drink tea every day. Here's an additional, because of course I'm a statistics guy, I'm a math guy. Here's compound effect. Can you imagine just sitting down and pounding out, I don't know, 103 hours of teaching and training on these 5 topics that we cover every week? Think about videotaping 103 hours, because that's what we've done.
Yeah, so if we just sat down on New Year's Eve and said, hey, this year we need to do how many hours?
Well, so far it's
103?
103, so we'll end up close to like 180.
So Mike, I know we're busy, but somehow this year we need to take at least 103 hours and do some teaching, right? There's no way that would have happened unless we committed to a daily process. And the only reason we're sharing this is because I really believe if you'll take your big goals, see, this is what successful people do. It's like writing a book, okay? You ready for this? I literally made a commitment. Here's how simple it is. And I'm not even worried about the outcome, okay? I'm just writing 1 chapter a day. That's it. That's my goal. Literally, every day I have to write at least 1 chapter. And I've got all these different books I'm working on. Right? And so when the inspiration comes or whatever it may be, I'm writing in that chapter that day until I finish it. Now, will I have to go back and edit it? Sure. Will I have to go back and tweak it? Sure. Will I have to go back and add stuff? Sure. But I'm at least going to finish a chapter every day. Right? So like think about the things that you could do just if you did it once a day, every day. Even the things like even the way you break down time, like a 24-hour day. Whether you break it down by the hour or you break it down by 30 minutes. If you break stuff down by 30 minutes, think of the amount of time that you have that you literally could be doing stuff. You know, the things that you could do in 30 minutes, you know. What does that give you? 48 slots a day, you know, for actions. Of course there's sleep. Of course there's, you know, whatever. But even if you took away the 8 hours of sleep. Yeah, what is sleep, right? So I just think that really is going to help some people out there to get back to doing things daily. So take your big goals and then figure out what you have to do every day and work your way back, you know. So, you know, if you want to maybe, let's say you want to, you know, you want to call 1,000 people, right? Well, you're not going to call 1,000 people this week. How many would you have, you know, when do you want to call them by? If you want to call 1,000 people within 90 days, well, then figure out how many people you have to call every single day to make that happen. So anyways, we'll talk about that another show, but I do believe that's a very powerful concept.
That is a powerful concept. And just to reinforce it with one other thing, it's just to take away an excuse from somebody that maybe is hearing this and going, yeah, but, hey, look, there are no 2 people that I know that have more things going on in their life and in their schedule than Matt and myself. And I'm not saying that to say, oh, look at us or whatever. I'm just saying, look, if we can carve out 30 minutes a day to do a show, y'all don't have any excuses. Just put them away, fold them up, put them on the shelf, excuse gone. Done. You don't have any.
Really? Well, Mike, your daughter's going to graduate this year, okay? And she's probably somewhere have a box that's probably going to have 500 to 1,000 letters from you, okay? Same with my son. So one day when they're older, someone's going to be like, God, how'd you get so many letters from your dad? Can you imagine what that would mean? You ready? You just wrote one every day.
Yep.
That's it.
One every day.
Every day. Like my son's going to literally have probably over 1,000 letters. Whether he gets a girlfriend that puts them in a scrapbook, because I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying, you know, Caleb, if you're watching the show, I'm not scrapbooking your letters. I wrote them, okay? I kept them organized for you. If you want to make a wall in your new house of all my letters, cool. If you want to put them in folders, cool. If you want to do a scrapbook with them, cool. But you and your future girlfriend, future girlfriend, whoever you are, be cool to my son. Be normal. But whatever it is, you guys figure it out together. Make it fun. I'm not helping.
I just got this like visual of you with like a fuchsia construction paper and a pair of pinking shears. Like just, well, that's nice.
That's right. I can see. Hey, I juice, you know what I'm saying? I like candles, I bubble bath, but that's where I draw the line, my friends.
No scrapbooking.
I'm not scrapbooking.
Good. I'm glad. And we're all happy about that.
Sitting on the couch with Mike at Mission 25. Hey, Mike, can you help me with these stone?
Hand me those stories.
That's funny right there, man.
No, not going to happen. Hey, so let's jump into some questions. Today's business development, entrepreneurship, and I love the concept of the compound effect. There's actually a book, The Compound Effect, you know, this is a powerful concept of daily activities to produce results. And just look at, you know, again, 176 episodes is incredible. Let me jump to a couple other questions. Going to segue quickly. Of course, as always, feel free to ask questions. When you're watching the show here live. If you're live with us, thanks for being here. Type in the chat box. Shoot me a text at 727-341-5599 or send me an email, mike@mattmaddox.com. And we'll get to those questions, you know, whenever we can, as soon as we can, ASAP. First question. Give me a secret to staying organized in business. And you probably give me more than one, but go ahead.
Here's one. Yeah, exactly. Here's three. Here's one. You know, Mike, here's the deal. I once heard somebody say, figure out the two things that you do best that nobody else can do, and do them and refuse to do anything else and delegate everything else. Now, of course, in business, that's a good concept. Sometimes you got to suck it up and do things that maybe is beyond your mastery or your genius or even your core, you know, gifting or focus or whatever, just because it has to be done. However, march towards that goal. March towards a goal where everybody stays in their lane, right? So I would say the number one thing is to bring somebody on board, even if you've got to hire an outside source, to organize your business systems, processes, filing system, you know, purchase orders, whatever the case may be. Bring in somebody that will do it for you and let them do it and let them really organize. Listen, probably the number one thing you need to do in business is stay organized and have process and systems. This is the non-sexy part of business. This is hard work. It's very, you have to be very patient in getting organized. It's a long process. It's not easy, but it's worth it. So I would say secret number one, Mike, is either bring somebody in to do it that truly knows how to organize, or I would say the second thing would be somebody that's even within your company that is organized. Turn them loose. Say, hey, it's time to get organized. And then make a master list a master list. Literally sit down and with your iPad or your yellow, your legal pad, yep, make a master list of everything that needs to be organized and literally prioritize. Literally say, okay, this is what we're going to work on first, and we're not going to do anything else until this is organized. And then we're going to go to the next thing. It's like what we said, Mike. You've got to break it down into tasks and then focus on them one at a time until you get organized. Sometimes in some businesses, it may take a year. Some businesses, it may take a month. Some businesses, it depends on where they're at and how disorganized they are. That's what I would throw in. Anything you would throw in on top of that, Mike?
There's an element of physical organization that goes along with, a lot of, depending on what your nature of your business is, most of the stuff that I work on is technology and, virtual based or whatever. And so a lot of it's, computer files and so on and so forth. But there is an element of physical organization, and organizing things physically has an effect on like your emotion, your psyche, and the way you mentally organize things. So if you've got like file folders that are like scattered and out of order, and you've got like receipts and things of that nature, get those organized physically, because that will help you in the long run with the rest of your organization. And actually, I don't know if you've been to the Container Store. For guys like me that are somewhat analytical, the opportunity to look at like all these different organizing things. But at the same time, we don't want to go too far overboard and spend all the time organizing and none of the time. Yeah, Carol's asking me to show my office, which is completely disorganized right now because of our recent move. But as time allows, we'll make that happen. But I've also seen people that get so carried away with trying to organize everything that they never get anything done. So there's a balance there.
Yes. Yes, I believe in that. There just comes a point where it's like you over-organize and you're always like, just always organizing and never doing,
You don't need a file folder for each receipt, for example. It's like, these are receipts. Keep them in their place.
Yeah.
That's good.
Thank you, Karen. It's good to be back.
Hey, this is real life. We're doing a show, living life, and sometimes things happen, right? Yeah, you're exactly right, Al. I've seen people use organize as a way to put off, like, I need to organize this and organize this as a way to put off maybe some of the things. In any business, even if you're living your passion, you're doing a business that you love, there's going to be things that aren't like your favorite thing to do, right? And so sometimes people will put those things off, and they'll do the things that they like to do, to sort of put off the things that they don't want to do. And so you got to be, careful that you're not using organization as a means to procrastinate, or, sometimes we'll use communication as a way to procrastinate. Like, I'm just going to touch base with my customers because I don't want to, spend the time doing the finances.
Yeah.
So I think it's focus.
Well, that's called going from good to great. I mean, you don't want to do good. You want to do great stuff. You don't want to just do and Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, is a must read. I mean, literally, I will not let my son graduate high school without reading that book. And even, I know this isn't our family show, but you parents need to get your kids reading the right books. And that's a whole other show tomorrow. Good to see David Sandy. David, we called you out on the biscuits this week, my friend. I don't know if you saw, but Mike threw you a big thank you for the biscuits. And I guess he liked them. I really loved mine that you sent. I'm a million percent joking, David. You know how they say there's a little bit of truth in every tease? There's not in that. I'm totally joking. I don't want any biscuits.
I think it was was it Monday, David? Yeah, because that was when I still had the biscuits. They're eaten now. And I think I found out the way that transpired is I found out that David lives in West Virginia, and I'm like, you have Tudor's biscuits there, because they're the best biscuits in the world. And then he shipped me 4 of them, and they were amazing. So thank you, David. And I don't think there's one in the town he lived in, so he really went the extra mile. Hey, speaking of extra mile, yeah, absolutely. Speaking of extra mile, I'm going to segue to another question we have about customer service. And you and I both have a concept from a customer service standpoint that, look, we really want to wow our customers as best we can. And we really want to, give that excellent customer service experience. But life's busy, business is busy, and sometimes we flat blow it with a customer, and their experience isn't any good, and maybe we drop the ball on something. Maybe somebody watching this is in customer service. Once you've really, blown it with a customer, is there a way to win them back? What can you do?
You know what, Mike? Being an honest, sincere, taking 100% I'm sorry goes a long ways with people. Let me tell you how not to win them back. Be defensive, make excuses, and be apathetic. You're done. In this day and age, your customer service has to be the best because people can go anywhere nowadays. With Twitter and Google and Yelp, you're hopeless. Like, this is why I'm shocked that more businesses are not excelling in customer service, because people have too many options. 20 years ago, business was a whole lot different than what it is today. The internet and Google and YouTube and, blogs and Yelp and things like this, they've literally caused you to have to be on your A game 24/7. So how do you win them back? Well, first and foremost, you've got to go the extra mile. I don't care if you got to send flowers. I don't care if you got to send them free products. I don't care if you got to drive to their house and deliver what they didn't have delivered to them. I don't care if you've got to send a Starbucks card. I don't care if you got to send them on a cruise. It just depends on how valuable this customer is. Literally, I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I was getting my hair cut, And I asked the lady that cuts my hair all kinds of questions. I said, well, tell me about your most interesting customer today besides me. So, she was telling me that she actually had a new customer that, actually left a very high-end salon because the lady didn't do her hair right and refused to fix it. She's like, I know I did it right. I'm sorry. You just have to come back next month. And here's a lady. And I said, well, what did she pay? How much did she? And she's like she's a $600 a month customer. $600 a month, right? So what is that? That's like $7,200 a year, right? That she pays in that business. So here's a $7,200 lady that just left this business because one of their employees did not, not only did she not go the extra mile, she didn't even go the mile. She jacked up her hair, right? And wouldn't fix it because of stubbornness, because of ego. So what you did is here's what you did. You literally handed out $7,200 in protection of your ego. What is extremely right is for them to have, look, $7,200. I would have almost gone to the length of sending her on a cruise or maybe putting her up in the hotel on the beach for 2 nights. Where's that stuff gone? Not only did she not get a sorry, the lady refused to admit that she messed up her hair. That girl should be shot. Not literally, but she should be fired or highly suspended or take a $7,200 pay cut because that's literally what she just cost her business. So I think, Mike, it depends on, of course, every customer. See, that's another danger. Let's say a customer only spends $25 a year in your business and you think, well, they're not valuable. They're just as valuable as the person that spends $7,200 because of word of mouth and because you never know when that customer may walk in and spend 10 grand. So you got to treat all customers, whether they're, but of course there are high-end customers. There are what you call, maybe our top 3 customers. I think every business should know who their top 5 customers are and treat them like kings and do things sporadically to give back to them. But that stuff is gone in business and we all know it. We all know it. When's the last time I got a personal phone call from AT&T? Like a real personal phone call? Never. You know what I'm saying? Never. Right? AT&T's never sent me a Starbucks gift card. Just a random hey, I just want to say thank you that you use AT&T. You could be using Verizon. Where's that stuff gone? That's what's missing, my friends.
What's interesting about that too, and Mary's mentioning word of mouth, which is of course huge. And today, even 15 years ago, word of mouth was powerful, and people understood that it was powerful. In business, 15, 20 years ago, people understood the power of word of mouth, the power of peer connections, the power of the referral, all of those things. It seems like even more than they do today. And yet today, the reality is that we have automated systems for word of mouth. So a person's opinion today is much more powerful than it was 20 years ago because I can influence 10,000 people in less than a week, whereas it would have taken years to have that same effect 20 years ago. Because what is social networking? It is, the plumbing behind word of mouth. That's all it really is. And so today, that customer service, you're as a business owner, even as someone who's working for a business, your focus on customer service needs to be even more pointed, even more focused because of the potential either way.
Absolutely. And one practical thing to do is go to that customer. Literally, the second you blew it with someone, the very next second you need to be reaching out, okay? And the thing you need to do is just simply say how sorry you are, and you need to ask one question. Please, now you need to be proactive, okay? But you still need to say, hey, please tell me what I can do to make this right. Please tell me. I want to make this right for you. Please tell me what I can do, right? Those words, believe it or not, But you need to be proactive about those words. Even if they don't come out and say, well, if you'd send me a 24 pack of Cokes or whatever, I'd feel better. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, you need to be proactive. That's number one. Number two is when they tell you, hey, all I want is my whatever, then aggressive, maniac, freak, intense, nothing else matters action to make sure you produce for that customer.
It's good. Hey, I've got another question. We've only got like 5 minutes, so I'm not sure how far we can get on this question. But one that came in. Let's say there's a business owner watching this show, and they're on the downward slide, and maybe they feel like their business is going under financially. What are some steps that is there any way that business owner can pull out of the dive? What are some practical tips in that scenario?
To pull out of what?
That's a really broad question.
To pull out of what now?
Let's say a business owner is their business is going under. They're about to go broke. Struggling.
Yeah, they're going down.
Yeah. And how can they recover? What can they do?
Here's the first thing you got to do is you got to get honest. You got to get honest about the fact that money's not coming in. You're going down. Your business is going down. Your competitor's destroying you. You got to get honest. Now, there's one or two things you can do. One is you can evaluate the why of it, and as soon as you find out where the holes are or where the bleeding is, like if I'm bleeding here, right? They're gonna, like a paramedic would apply pressure here, not here. What I see a lot of businesses do is they're like, oh yeah, I feel like you could be bleeding here, but in reality, like it's obvious I'm bleeding right here, and a lot of people are over here. They're not focused. So I think, in my opinion, Mike, there's one thing that has to happen, and that's laser focus. Laser focus.
Yeah.
You got to call a meeting with everybody in the business. You got to shut the door. Everybody turn off your phones. I want your undivided attention. Listen, for the next 30 days, it's going to be, we're going on spending freezes. We're amping our sales. We're going back out in the field. We're going door to door. We're like, you literally, like Grant Cardone says, you got to 10x. You've got to, like, literally, whatever you think you got to do 10 times greater. That's not always easy because when your business is under, so are your finances, and it's harder to work when you're broke.
Right.
And you need money, and it's harder to stay focused on long-term goals when you need cash today. Believe me, Mike and I have been there, trying to stick to a process and long-term goals and long-term goal actions when we need cash like now. You know what I'm saying? So I think laser focus is your answer. And I mean laser focus. I'm talking like the most insane level of laser focus that a human being could have. Even more, visualize it like this. More laser focus than a brain surgeon in brain surgery. Or a heart surgeon in surgery. Like, they're not checking their phones. They're not reading ESPN. They're not watching the news. They're, like, focused. And I think if your business is going under and you want to save it, you can't keep going out on the yacht and going out golfing and taking the day off. You can't do what you did when it was good. And a lot of times this is an ego crusher for people that were once successful because they're what they're doing is they're married to the old times and the glory days. Hey, the glory days, that's just a song right now for some of you. The glory days are gone, baby. Your glory days you got to get some glory days going on right now. Because whatever's happening right now, you're not going to be singing glory days. You're going to be singing like, this is hell on earth days, These are some of the worst days of my life. So anyways.
You're, of course, referring to the Bruce Springsteen song, right?
So I love that song. That's a morning song for me. I love it, man. That's one of my, that goes in there with Cotton Eye Joe. I got a weird morning playlist. You guys couldn't even handle it. I couldn't even reveal it. Because you couldn't handle my morning playlist. But don't ever ask me why I'm up at 4 or 5 in the morning. I have secrets to that stuff.
That's good. Yeah. Just to recap, so triage, find out where the bleeding's actually coming from, right? And then focus on the things that need to be done and ignore the things that basically don't need to be done. And that'll help you save your business. Put your ego aside so that you can look at it objectively. That's basically what you're saying.
Well, if you want to get back to the cruises and the country clubs and the days off and the ease, right? Which you shouldn't. You should never, even when you're blowing it up again, you gotta remember that you can't coast. Take a day off. Take a deserved vacation. But don't get back into slothful, sluggish, average coasting. You got to stay aggressive. You got to stay in maniac focus. Here's your word for the day. You ready? Maniac. There's your word. That's your mantra for today. Maniac. When people ask you what you're doing, you say, I'm a maniac. Don't mess with me. I'm in maniac mode. So, anyways, Mike, guess what, my friend? Tomorrow morning, you and I will be all the way in Seattle doing Fuel for Success.
True.
Tomorrow morning, we'll be in Seattle, probably with a Starbucks, at a Starbucks, perhaps. Who knows what we'll do. But tomorrow we'll be back at 9 a.m. We are out of time today. We say thank you to all of our live viewers. We say thank you to those that watch on the archives. We say that please do not miss out on this. We, Fuel for Success, could literally be sitting in your phone and your iPod or your iPad or wherever you listen to stuff today. All you got to do is go to iTunes and type in our name, Fuel for Success, and literally every show that we do will just bleep, show right up on your iPod or your phone. That's seriously that easy. Hey, Tara, looking forward to seeing you in Seattle.
Awesome. And it's a hat on backwards day. You're right, Britton. Got to focus and execute today. So love y'all. We will see you tomorrow morning.
Mike.
Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah.
We love you, my friend. God bless you.
Y'all be good now.